to the meeting of Annapolis County Council. And I acknowledge that we have some members of the public with us today. You will recall that during our last meeting, I indicated that on January 30th, 1880, at its first meeting, Annapolis County Council ordered that no cattle run at large in the municipality during the ensuing year. And you will recall that I had further news on the cows, but I was going to save it. And on the 10th of February, which as you know was a Tuesday in 1880, there is this paragraph. Upon reading and considering the petition of William Crosscup and others in reference to cattle running at large, it is ordered that the portion of Granville comprised by Ward number 7 be exempt from the operation of the order prohibiting cattle from running at large. And so we had no cattle running anyplace else but in Ward 7 in February of 1880. And at our next meeting, Committee of the Whole, I will explain how the public in 1880 dealt with requests to council. Call the roll call, please, beginning with District 1.
Bruce Prout. District 2, Brian Fuzzy Connell.
District 4, Floyd Barlow.
Your turn.
District 6, Ellie Morrison.
District 7, David Hudson.
District 8, Michael Gunn.
District 10, Brad Redden. District 11, Diane LeBlanc. And on screen,
District 3, Dustin Enzel.
Thank you.
Motions to excuse.
Could I have a motion to excuse Councillor Sheridan from this meeting, please?
so moved.
Councillor Connell, Councillor LeBlanc. Discussion? All in favor?
Yes.
And may I have a motion to excuse Councillor Longmire from this meeting, please? Deputy Warden, Councillor Bartow. Discussion? All in order? All in favor?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Motion carries. Are there any changes to the order of the day?
Disclosure of interest.
No. Disclosure of interest, Deputy Warden.
Oh, to change the order of the day.
Okay. I'm advised that we need to do the disclosure of interest first. Councillor Enzel?
You're muted.
Three most famous words, you're muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Perfect, okay. I have a conflict of interest with the Annapolis Basin Conference Center report.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any others? Thank you. Are there changes to the order of the day? Deputy Warden.
I'd like to add Canadian Communities and Building Fund for Lawrencetown.
Where?
To new business?
Yeah, I guess that would be good.
Yes, at the end.
Yeah.
And CAO?
And in camera? And if we could add an in camera for 22 Part 2A for acquisition, sale, lease, and security of municipal property.
We don't have any camera book, do we?
No, we're adding it.
We're adding it.
Adding. Any others? Take a motion, approval of the day as amended. Councillor LeBlanc and Councillor Prout. Discussion? All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Motion. And now we move to the minutes of Municipal Council, point 4.1. Can I have a motion for approval, please?
Very good.
Councillor Gunn, Councillor LeBlanc. Discussion? Councillor Hudson.
Yes, I was just wondering, I don't know how lengthy a task this is, but I'm just curious as to...
Page. Page.
On page 6, please.
Okay.
Whether that boundary review submission has been made to the URB regarding the boundary review?
No, it has not.
Okay.
And if there are any councillors who have not sent the clerk their submissions, if you would do so post haste, please. Councillor LeBlanc?
I think we have a little bit of cleanup to do in a few of these, because if you look at the top of page 6, the system of governance plus the other motion, we have 10 in favor, 1 against, and we were not 11 on council at the time. So it probably should be 9 in favor, 1 against. Yes.
What is the motion number, Councillor?
And the motion number is 230117.02, top of page 6.
Yes.
And the second one is 230117.03.
Okay.
And I have 2 more.
Okay, just a minute here.
That would be on page,
Sorry, what is your point?
the point is...
Yes, yeah, the 2, right.
We weren't 11 councillors, so it
Yes.
should be 9 in favor.
Yes.
And the other one should be 8, and so forth. And there's 2 on page 7, the bottom 2 motions, which would be motion 230...
10 and 11?
Yes,
Good for you.
that's all I found.
Anything else with the Councillor Hudson? No.
Just...
All in favor?
Yes.
4.2 minutes. Need someone to move. Councillor Gunn and Deputy Warden, thank you. Any comments? Okay, you have the minutes as presented. We now move to Committee of the Whole recommendation, page 12. Deputy Warden, please. Remuneration for Warden, Deputy Warden, and Councillors Policy Amendment.
I move that this full council amend AM1.2.1 remuneration for warden, deputy warden, and councillors as revised. Sorry, my printout is not here. Revised and circulated in accordance with 7-day notice given.
Thank you. Second? Councillor LeBlanc, discussion? All in favor?
Yes.
Against? Motion carried. Councillor Prout, signing authorities policy amendment, please.
I move that municipal council amend AM-6.6.6, signing authorities policy as circulated pursuant to 7-day notice given.
Thank you. Second? Councillor Connell, discussion? All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. Councillor Hudson, sewer charges bylaw amendment, first reading.
I move that municipal council give first reading to amend M10 sewer charges bylaw by deleting and in quotations, .9, that's 0.9, in subsection 2, bracket 2, bracket C, and replacing with 5.
Thank you. Seconder? Councillor Prout, discussion? All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. Councillor Hudson, please. Agreement execution, Church Street Sewer Main Extension.
I move that municipal council authorize the warden and clerk to execute the Investing in Canada Infrastructure ICIP agreement for the Church Street Sewer Main Extension.
Thank you. Seconder?
Enslow?
Pardon me?
Councillor Enslow.
Did you
please.
second, Councillor Ensel? Thank you. Discussion? All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. Councillor LeBlanc, please. King's Transit Authority Deficit Funding 2021-22.
Before that, we have the Middleton Fire Department.
Oh, yes, we have. Councillor Connell, please. Release of Fire Capital Reserve, Middleton Fire Department.
I move that municipal council authorize the withdrawal of $31,115 from the Capital Fire Service Reserve Fund for the Middleton Fire Department to purchase 4 self-contained breathing apparatuses.
Thank you. Second, Councillor Gunn. Discussion. All in favor?
Yes.
You opposed? Motion carried. Councillor LeBlanc, King's Transit Authority Deficit Funding 2021-22, please.
I move that municipal council authorize the payment of the deficit from the 2021-22 fiscal year per the adjusted financial statements in the amount of $78,623 from the operating reserve.
Thank you. Seconder, Councillor Hudson. Discussion. All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. Councillor Barto, please. Tax sale procedure.
I move that municipal council authorize pursuant to section 141, bracket 2 of the Municipal Government Act, that all tax sale properties for 2022-23 process be advertised by tender.
Thank you. Seconded by Councillor LeBlanc. Discussion. All in favor?
Yes.
Thank you. Against? Nay? 1?
Recorded, please.
So,
And Councillor Gunn wishes it recorded.
1, 2, 3, 4.
8 in favor,
Seven.
1 against.
Yes.
There are 9.
Thank you.
I don't know.
And I might pause here and point out to members of the public who are watching is that we are confirming here what we discussed sometimes at great lengths in committee of the whole. And so each one of these motions has been carefully considered and discussed and recommended to us by committee of the whole. Councillor Hudson, Park Trust termination, 7 Park Street, please.
I move that municipal council direct staff to hold a public meeting on March 21st, 2023 at 11 a.m. in council chambers regarding the termination of a land trust dated December 13th, 1887 that declared that the present 7 Park Street Bridgetown lands were to be used for the purposes of a public park for the citizens of Bridgetown for their use forever.
Thank you. Seconder, Councillor Prout. Discussion. Deputy Warden.
So, as this motion currently sits, I don't feel it's in line with our public participation policy, which applies to all our committees and whatnot. And it says that we will have meaningful public engagement. And meaningful is the really key word here. And my support for it not being meaningful is that when we had a planning advisory committee in Bridgetown, there was 45 or 50 people in attendance. And when the CBS issue previously came to a public meeting at council, there were 0 people here. And so I don't think that we lined up with our policy.
Thank you. Further discussion? All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. Councillor Hudson, please. Bridgetown Source Water Protection Advisory Committee.
I move that Municipal Council appoint Robert Figan and C. Stephen Clayton as a citizen members of the Bridgetown Source Water Protection Advisory Committee, satisfying Section 28D of the policy for a 2-year term ending November 30th, 2024.
Thank you. Seconder? Councillor LeBlanc. I have to keep my head up. Okay. Discussion. All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. Councillor LeBlanc, please. Citizen Appointments, Bridgetown Source Water Protection Advisory Committee.
Is that me?
I thought he was doing it.
All right, Councillor Hudson.
I move that Municipal Council appoint John Osborne as a citizen member of the Bridgetown Source Water Protection Advisory Committee, satisfying Section 28C of policy for a 2-year term ending November 30th, 2024.
Thank you. Seconder, please. Councillor Enslow. Discussion. All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. Councillor Bartow. Citizen Granville Ferry Source Water Protection Advisory Committee, please.
I move that Municipal Council appoint Charles Stewart as a citizen member of the Granville Ferry Source Water Protection Advisory Committee, satisfying Section 28E of policy for a 2-year term ending November 30th, 2024.
Thank you. Seconder, Councillor LeBlanc. Discussion. All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. Councillor Connell, please. Start Fire Services Review and issue request for proposal.
I move that Municipal Council start the fire service review and that the request for proposal be put out by the end of March 2023.
Thank you.
Second.
Seconded by Councillor Gunn. Discussion. All in favor?
Yes.
Against? Motion carried. Deputy Warden, dissolve CAO Review Committee, please.
I move that Municipal Council dissolve the CAO Review Committee.
Thank you. Seconded. Councillor LeBlanc. Discussion. All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? 1. Motion carried. Deputy Warden.
I move that Municipal Council establish a CAO Review Working Group composed of those who are on the CAO Review Committee.
Thank you. Seconder, Councillor Hudson. Discussion. All in favor?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Discussion.
Yes,
Who's on that committee?
I am the Deputy Warden,
Councillor Sheridan?
Councillor Sheridan, and Councillor Longmire. Further discussion. Deputy Warden.
So, I think our first discussion about working groups goes back about 10 months ago. And in general, my default position is to not be in favor of working groups.
Thank you.
I've really struggled to articulate why I don't like working groups. Said it a few different ways and a few different times, and I ended up reading a lot about parliamentary procedure at the federal level, because they have working groups, but they call them subcommittees, which is another whole digression. But it's that they're, at the federal level, they're very narrowly focused, which is what this is as well. They don't report back quite the same way. And there's a lot of nuance there that I am not equipped to articulate, but that is largely why I have been opposed to working.
Thank you. Further discussion? All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Councillor Connell. That concludes that portion of our agenda, and we now move to new business. And the first item of new business is my update. And I have an additional paragraph that will be inserted into my report, and I will just read it now. One subject in which I have always been interested is the involvement of youth in appropriate aspects of the business of our municipality. A few months ago, I approached the principal of Annapolis West Education Center, explained my interest, and asked if she could explore the possibility of student participation. After a suitable period of time, I followed up and was told she had not been able to generate interest. I will now consult with counselors with schools in their districts to see if we can advance this endeavor. Are there any comments on the warden's report? Thank you. We will now move to annual reports.
So Councilor Enzo has to give the reason for his declaration in advance.
And the first one is Annapolis Basin Conference Center. And Councilor Enslow, would you give us your reason for declaring an interest, please?
Hear me?
Yes.
As currently a member of the military, I am the project manager for the contract for HCS Acadia. So I have an interest within this report.
Thank you. We're on page 22, Annapolis Basin Conference Center report. Any comments? Thank you. We will move to page 24, Annapolis County 4-H Council Annual Report. Are there comments? Councilor Connell.
As you read the 4-H report, it's just another level of seeing what COVID has done to the local groups. I mean, there was only 4, I think, participants last year in the 4-H, and they had a hard time even meeting. And then when they got, to go to their district thing, of course, Fiona flew in. So it was a hard year for not-for-profits. So it showed in the report that it was.
I think that's the same with a lot of other groups. Thank you. Page 25, Annapolis County Federation of Agriculture Annual Report. Comments? Thank you.
I have questions.
Okay.
On page 25, in the work of the Board of Directors this year has included the last bullet. We're continuing to work with Annapolis Valley Exhibition Society to establish a use agreement with them as fully independent from the Federation effective this year end. So this is something new. And it says, and one that honors and recognizes their contribution and history on the site since 2012. The focus for 2022 has been to fully separate the two entities, and so the work has included a lot of financial and administrative tidying. I'd just like to know if somebody can give a little bit more information about why they want to separate the two entities.
Notwithstanding that this is a report of the Federation,
Yes.
I'll ask the Deputy Warden, who is our representative on the board, if he has any words.
Yeah, we made a couple of comments during the Annapolis County Exhibition report, but I can certainly do it now. And I will say that this has been something that's been hard to, coming in at it so late, it's been very hard to try and figure out what has gone on for, let's say 30, 40 years. So I may have some of the details a little askew here. As far as I know, it goes back to the exhibition was always a committee of the Federation, going back into the 80s or maybe before. And then in 2012, they kind of started their own group, but their finances and stuff were still tied into the Federation. And it's just this year they've finally made a complete separation. And so now they manage to lose the grounds from the Federation.
Thank you.
Further discussion, Councillor Connell?
Yeah, the Federal Agriculture owns all the land. But on the land, the rink is on Federation land. So the rink association runs the rink. 4-H has their own building that really, Department of Agriculture really didn't put a lot into the grounds. They held their cattle sale at one time and stuff like that, so they really only paid attention to a couple of the buildings. Everything else was under the realm of the exhibition committee. But every time the exhibition committee had to apply for something, they had to go through the Federation. So it was kind of, you had to wait and see if the Federation was agreeing with what you wanted to do. And then when the Federation was given when the offices of the agricultural department provincially closed in Morristown, then the Federation of Agriculture really didn't want to have the upkeep of that big building up front, so they allowed the museum to take that over. The exhibition conduct actually took that over. So it's kind of been an entangled thing that the exhibition couldn't do nothing unless they had the approval of the Federation, and it was causing conflict with trying to get grants and stuff like that. So I'm glad to see that they're kind of separating, because it's been kind of an oddball thing to have to try to deal with at times.
Thank you for those words. Further discussion? We'll move to page 27, the Annapolis County Fire Service Association report. Is there any discussion? Are there any comments?
If I may.
Councillor Crowe.
The second paragraph from the bottom. This year will be a rebuilding year, as the current executive have indicated they will not be reoffering further positions at the April general meeting.
Sorry,
On page 27, it's the last full paragraph before the bottom. I just found that sort of troubling. It looks like the current executive
yes.
en masse won't be reoffering. I don't know if anyone has any.
Councillor Connell?
Yeah, they announced that at the last fire services meeting we had, that the 3 executives were stepping down, and they are having small issues among the fire departments to try to figure out who's going to take those positions. But they're working on it, and they're hoping when the county does the fire service review that we look at different models to help our fire services. So.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councillor Gunn?
Thank you so much. As with students not stepping forward to taking interest in local governance, it's much the same in the fire services. A couple of the different fire people, I'll call them, I know, I've mentioned to them, why don't we have a young firefighters group, as they do in Queens County, and they encourage young people to be involved with the fire departments. I forget what age it is. I think it's 14 or 15, something like that. They don't actually go on fire calls, but what they do is become familiar with the fire services and the fire stations and one thing and another. And it works very well. those departments that have the young firefighters seem to have a good body available to them as the years go by, and it keeps it constant. And when I've mentioned this to our fire services reps, or not reps, fire people, about the idea of that, they claim that it's not worth the effort. So I think that we need to encourage young people to be involved in our governance issues throughout our council. Not just here, but in our fire services. And we need to encourage that through schools. And I believe that we need to start with soliciting the education system to teach civics at a young age, which they don't at the moment. You know, they learn civics in grade 10 or 11, and I think that's something that should be, if we want to encourage young people to come and be involved, I think we need to train civics, teach them civics at a young age, perhaps at the age of 12 or 13, whatever grades that falls into. Thank you, that's all I have to say.
What's your answer?
Councillor Enslow. When you want to talk, if I don't have my eyes up, just holler, okay?
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. I just want to verbally note the large increase of calls in 2022.
Yes.
An increase from 872 to 1,030. And just take this time to thank the hard work of the fire departments across Annapolis County do in support of their community.
Thank you. We'll move now to page 29, Juniper House Annual.
Annapolis County Ground Search and Rescue.
Didn't see that one.
I'm sorry.
No, it's further on.
Okay, I'm sorry. She has a different order. My mistake.
All right, we'll do Juniper House Annual Report, please. Councillor Prout.
It's a very interesting report. It gives an insight into the work that is done by this group, and that even though it is headquartered in the Tri-County area, it does come up into our area. And I must say, it was very interesting reading. The only part that threw me off a bit was when we got to page 33. We found out that talking about horse shows. So I suspect that was as I look back, it probably ties in with something that came a little bit later. So
I think it was copied in the
yeah, perhaps, but yeah, I surmised that. But a good report and good work that they do with Juniper House.
Thank you. We will hold page 33 in abeyance and go to page 34, Annapolis County Ground Search and Rescue. Comments? We will now move to page 36.
I have a comment.
Okay, Councillor Obama.
I'd like to say thank you to these people that also volunteer to go and search for anyone who is lost or has found themselves wandering. The other important part is that they've been here for 46 years. So they have done a lot of work and they've gone through a lot of things. And they also work with our neighboring search and rescue in Digby and Clare and in Kings County. So in Lunenburg and Queens and West Hants, I might as well add them all up. So I don't leave anybody out. It's quite interesting that now, especially with people who have difficulties that we'll call it like might wander, they have the Project Lifesaver with a bracelet that would help them to find them in a situation, even the children who are autistic, or it's young and old, it covers everyone. So I really I think they're doing a great job, so I say thank you to them.
Thank you. Well said.
Sir?
Councillor Gunn.
Yeah, I would like to echo Councillor LeBlanc's comments. Last summer, when the gentleman down my way went missing, we had them from ground search and rescue from Digby, Queens, Kings, everywhere. All of our neighbors came to help us to locate that man. I thank him.
Thank you. Councillor Barco.
Not personal per se, but my brother-in-law created Project Lifesaver years back, and he joined search and rescue. And to see that grow and market into our county and around is a great thing. It has been very beneficial in potentially life-saving situations. And I commend all search and rescue, not just for that initiative, but for the efforts that they put in annually. It's another one of our volunteer organizations in the fire department that don't get the recognition that they should. There's a lot of volunteers, like they're going out there in the middle of the night whenever the phone rings, putting themselves out there, taking themselves out of their own comfort zone to help others, and that is just amazing.
Well said. Thank you. We'll now move to page 36, which is the Annapolis Valley Exhibition. And I think, as you have found out, page 33 belongs to the Annapolis Valley Exhibition as well. Any discussion? All right, we'll move now to the page 37, the Annapolis Valley Regional Center for Education. Comments? Thank you. Page 41, Annapolis Royal Historic Gardens. Comments? Thank you. We'll now move to the RCMP Bridgetown Detachment. Comments?
Councillor Ansel.
Speak up, speak up.
Sorry. Just the same thing here. I just want to note the amount of increased service calls, and it just seems very concerning. But I just want to divert you note that. But that's all I have.
Thank you. Deputy Warden.
Yeah, just sort of coming up on budget things.
Page?
No, this is page 50, sorry, yeah. There's a list of the resources. And during the budget, we talked about 14 members of funding. But on my count, that is 28 personnel.
28.
It's a lot of support personnel there that don't necessarily show up in our budget.
Thank you. All right, we'll move on to Southwest Nova Biosphere Association. Councillor Nutt?
Thank you. I would make a note that when we go back to the agriculture, they're in contact with the Southwest Nova Biosphere Reserve and do work with them in inquiries and collaborative work together. I also want to point out that when we had a presentation from former Mayor Bill McDonald here a few weeks ago, and what they're looking to do with the Causeway project over here, or the former Tidal Tower project. The Southwest Nova Biosphere is very much involved with what's going on there. The Southwest Nova Biosphere is very much involved with the Clean Annapolis River project. the Medway Forest Cooperative, Mersey Tobiatic. The Southwest Nova Biosphere is a lot of recognition in their expertise throughout different organizations in the province. Thank you.
Thank you. We will move now to the Trans-County Transportation Society, page 58, please. Deputy Warden?
Again, here we've got a 10% increase in trips and a 7% increase in mileage, while reducing costs by 24%. That is
Awesome.
phenomenal.
Thank
Great
you.
organization.
It's a great organization.
We will now move to page 62, Annapolis Community Support Services, the VON. Being from a family of 8 and being the eldest, I don't remember very much what the VON did for me in my first year, but I certainly remember what the VON did for my mother and for the other 7 kids. And one of the things we always enjoyed is that they smiled, they were polite, and they knew what to do, and I've got great memories of and respect for the VON.
Ditto.
Correct.
Thank you. And Councillor Gunn, you had was it
Councilor Redden, or Deputy Warden Redden.
Deputy Warden? Yes.
Wrote it very neatly on one of my pages here. I just have to find it.
Excuse me.
Page?
I guess I'll wing it. I move that we get
Municipal Council.
municipal council request recommendation reports for the lagoon maintenance and solar panel projects from Lawrencetown.
Village of Lawrencetown.
Yeah.
Could you read that, please?
I move that Municipal Council request recommendation reports for the lagoon maintenance and solar panel projects from the Village of Lawrencetown.
To March Committee of the Whole.
I move that Municipal Council request recommendation to March. Okay?
Do we have a seconder for that motion?
I second it.
Councillor Connell, please.
I don't feel it should be lagoon maintenance. It should be their their purchase of their piece of equipment for capital use.
Could you speak up, Councillor? You don't feel that way?
I don't agree that it's lagoon maintenance. There's a piece of capital equipment purchased for Lawrencetown to be able to do several things with that piece of equipment. It's not just sewer lagoon. They have 10 kilometers of their own roads to take care of. They have trails to push out. The piece of equipment is not solely for lagoon. That's my...
Thank you.
Clarification.
Deputy Warden.
Lagoon maintenance is the term in Lawrencetown's capital budget. They estimated that.
Thank you. Further discussion? Councillor Glenn.
Thank you so much. this is getting moved to committee of the whole, and we don't make decisions at council. So this isn't really on the thing. Wouldn't this just be put on the agenda for committee of the whole, this whole subject, rather than having to be voted on now to go to committee of the whole? You understand what I'm saying? Thank you.
Done it before.
I have the issue with that statement, madam, because we've done it before, doesn't mean it's right. Thank you.
Deputy
But
Warden?
where do we decide?
This is council making a request for a report, and the timeline is for when this is delivered. If we were to put it on the agenda at committee of the whole, would then to next council to then make a request to have the report delivered following.
Yes. Councilor Bartow?
Council can make most of these decisions based on, a lot of it is from recommendations from the committee of the whole. I don't think that we're limited to recommendations from the committee of the whole. Council can and has made motions in the past.
Yes. Thank you. Further discussion?
So, to be clear, this is to ask the Village of Lawrencetown to give us a report on their maintenance at the lagoon and their solar power workings, the establishment, and how it works, or is there any specifics?
I didn't take it as that. I took it as our staff.
What's that?
He said for our staff to come back with a report. He didn't say anything about Lawrencetown being.
Well, I didn't know. That's what I'm asking.
With a recommendation report.
Further discussion?
Okay.
All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. Because they only take 1 or 2 minutes each, we now have time for councillor comments, beginning with District 1, please.
Thank you. I'd like to begin by wishing everybody a happy African History Month. This year the theme is Seas of Struggle, African Peoples from Shore to Shore. And this theme also connects with the United Nations International Decade for People of African Descent, which will end next year. It's a time to reflect on the many contributions that have been made by people of African descent to our rich history and culture. I also hope that the residents of Annapolis County were able to enjoy our Nova Scotia Heritage Day, which was held yesterday. Beautiful weather, wonderful time to do things as families. I just point out that this year the day was held in honor of Elder Rita Joe for her many contributions to celebrate Mi'kmaq culture. And finally, I'm sure that we're all happy to see, and I worded this carefully, so no one would say the days aren't getting any longer. We'll be glad to see we're enjoying more sunlight as we get closer to the end of winter. And I'd remind people that less than 30 days, it'll be spring, so thank you.
Thank you. District 2, please.
Yes, just to echo my colleague, Councilor Probst, to recognize that African Heritage Month and also the holiday of yesterday is Family Day or Heritage Day. A lot of business that are closing, so it was nice to see that the dollar isn't pushing that object. The pleasure of having a day to enjoy family and heritage is something needed. Not much going on other than it is nice to have an open winter as far as damages done to properties and stuff like that. So we're looking forward to spring and I know there are committees in my kind of two districts, Margaret's and Port George, have been working hard on activities they're going to try to succeed this next summer with things opening up. So I know the Jamboree Committee's been working hard to try to figure out if they can get that back up and running.
Also,
It's the same thing as always, is that from not doing those activities for a little over 2 years, it's been hard to get volunteers to come back and take those committees and work with them, because to do the Port George Jamboree, I think they were looking at 200 and some volunteers. It's a big effort, and they've been having meetings, and think they have to achieve. So hopefully other groups will too, and we'll see some kind of productivity in our county as far as events and stuff, and so people have something good to celebrate. Thank you.
Thank you. District 3, please.
I just want to thank District 3 for electing me as their next counselor. It's been a great pleasure to work with all the council already. I know that I'm new to this, and it's also been a pleasure to get to meet and work with all of the different committees that support District 3. I continue to be surprised with the amount of support that the District 3 citizens provide to not only District 3, but for the whole county. Through various committees so far, they definitely have pride in what they want to do, and I appreciate that, and I'm very thankful also that they're very vocal on what their concerns are, which is what needs to happen. So I just want to say thank you to everyone, and thank you to council for accepting me, I guess. It's been a great pleasure. Thank you.
Quite welcome. District 4, please.
Yeah, I don't have a lot to say. I just want to reflect on, recognizing the Black Heritage Month and the Heritage Family Day, all in the month of February, which is the shortest month of the year. And in contrast to being the shortest month of the year, the groundhog says that we're going to have a longer winter. That's all I have.
Thank you. The councillor for District 5 is not here today. I'm District 6, and I want to say that the Cornwallis Park Community Association is considering forming a youth board of directors to give youth a voice in community activities. And that's what prompted me to include in my update my remarks on youth. And the next Cornwallis Park Community Association breakfast is Saturday, March 11th from 8 to 10 a.m., please. District 7.
Thank you. Well, I guess I'll start by saying it's been a very busy month with a lot of meetings. I'll go on to basically say, I guess winter finally has arrived. We had a few snowstorms. In that regard, I'd like to mention that after those storms, I received several calls about the plowing and the removal of snow in the downtown core of the town of Bridgetown. Residents and business owners are not very happy with how this work was completed. Going on, as the councillor representing part of Bridgetown, I attended the quarterly meeting this CAO has with the Bridgetown Development Committee. That would be the group that Councillor Onslow has referred to previously. At that meeting, the committee provided information on the projects they have completed and those that they have planned for the future. And again, repeating what Councillor Onslow said, this is a very active group, high interest levels, and are willing to take on most any task. I also attended the Bridgetown Fire Department's annual banquet with Deputy Warden Ridden the evening of February 18th, 2023. We had the pleasure to present awards to long service members. We presented 8 awards for service that ranged from 30 to 46 years. These volunteers have committed a large portion of their lives to the fire service, and words cannot really describe their unselfish dedication to this essential community service. Lastly, the Bridgetown branch of the Royal Bank has announced that they are closing in August and all accounts will be transferred to Annapolis Royal. Because of the inconvenience this represents, people are not very happy over this decision and really do not believe that it was necessary. It's unknown whether the building will be sold or demolished. I think this is a good example of big business where profits basically trump service. Thank you.
District 8, Councilor Gunn.
Thank you, District 8 report. Here it is, Shrove Tuesday, or for many, Pancake Tuesday. Wishing everyone had a happy African Heritage Month and hope people took time to reflect on the writings and legacy of Rita Joe for Heritage Day yesterday. My communications this month were concerning the ongoing lack of water supply in downtown Bear River and a request for a summary of actions taken by the ad hoc glyphosate committee. Also, if anyone would like to take part in the Indigenous Protected and Conserved Areas webinar taking place tonight between 6 and 7:30, please contact Julian Weldon Genji at the Nova Scotia Department of Natural Resources and Renewables for a Zoom link. That's open to the public, and I also sent you folks a link. I attended the Annapolis Valley Star Project, a 3-year tourism strategy presentation in Middleton, and was interested to learn that the 3% tax that the provincial government has allowed us to add on accommodation properties will be put towards tourism. Obviously, we're going to have to learn more about this. The Forestry Committee will be meeting later this week to discuss actions proposed by the Nova Scotia Working Woodlands Trust and to elect leadership. There will be a meeting of the Southwest Nova Biosphere Reserve Association Board next week, and I look forward to learning how an amazing places sign for Delapse Cove is coming along. I was happy to join the good folks at the Bear River Fire Department for a Valentine's themed breakfast on February 11th. The breakfasts are usually the first Saturday of the month, and everyone is welcome. And I'd like to take a moment to thank all of those dedicated volunteers at fire, church, and community halls that keep activities going, with activities going throughout the year, but especially in the dead of winter. Because these are the people with the eyes and the ears on the area who are able to quickly identify members of the community who are vulnerable. This is particularly important these days, and hats off to all of you who make these events happen. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Sheridan, District 9 is not with us today. District 10, Councilor Redden.
Thank you. Really just had the opportunity this week to see Lawrencetown's library operation and their solar panel project is sort of the last piece of it to offset their energy cost and green that building. Put in a heat pump system and a number of systems to get them off oil. It's an impressive operation.
Thank you. District 11, Councilor LeBlanc.
Done? Thank you. I can't express it or say anything better than what Councilor Prout has said about African Heritage Month, and also going around the table about our Family Day, Heritage Day. It also shows that we have a lot of contributions and important things that are happening in our community, and we work as a whole, which is great. The only thing I have left to say is that the Three Rivers Community Center is continuing to do every day activities that are presented to the public to go join with them. So again, I urge you to look on Facebook, find out what activities going on, and take part and bring a friend with you. Have fun. Thank you, sir.
Okay, it's 11 o'clock.
We will now take a break.
Just turn that on.
We are now moving to a planning meeting and will resume the council meeting presently. Thank you.
Thank you very much for going into that.
Why don't you just wait? Council is now back in session, and I would like a motion to amend the order of the day to include reporting on the public hearing concerning file 2022-DA001, please. Councilor LeBlanc, and seconded by the Deputy Warden. Discussion. All in favor?
Yes.
Thank you. The order of the day is now amended, and if I'm right, clerk, we will deal with this recommendation.
Yes.
And at the end, we have to put, the Deputy Warden, would you read the recommendation, please, on page 3? And when you get to the end, just pause.
I don't have a copy.
Okay.
I have the suggested word.
I have a copy in front of me. That upon receiving a favorable recommendation from the East Area Advisory Committee and the Planning Area Advisory Committee, the Municipal Council gives second and final reading of its intent to approve the development agreement amendment application submitted by Harry Wilson to amend the Macbeth's grooming and kennel boarding development agreement to permit the future expansion of the business on the property located at 10301 Highway 201, PID 05292347,
Comma.
And it's on the back page. Go to the back page. I had it started.
Brendan, do you have the wording?
You're close.
Yes.
Pending inclusion of...
I lost it. Basically, just the addition that Schedule I is approved by a municipal development officer. Pending approval from Schedule I by a municipal development officer.
Pending approval of Schedule I.
From the municipal development officer.
Okay.
Thank you. Second, Councilor LeBlanc. Discussion. All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. I would like a motion. I would like a motion to go into camera under section 22(2)A, acquisition, sale, lease, and security of municipal property. Councilor Hudson, Deputy Warden, discussion. All in favor?
Yes.
Council is now back in session. I declare the meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.